This is Bill from the North Country Angler, and in this fly tying session we're going to be tying the Rudolph Fly. I first encountered this fly while fishing up at the Arctic Circle. We were staying at the North Pole Lodge and I ran into the owner, a jolly old fellow with a big white beard, and he told me that what we needed to catch Arctic char was a Rudolph fly. So today we're going to be tying the Rudolph. Okay, now that you've gathered all of your materials needed to tie the fly, you've mounted your Mustad 3366 hook in the vise, and you've mounted the thread at the rear of the hook. We're going to leave this hook shank blank so that we can spin the deer hair on here. And we're using a monocord 3/0 thread, which is a very heavy thread, and that's what you're going to need to spin the hair. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of deer hair here, and we're going to cut off a clip, or a clump, right there. And we're going to clean out the underfur. We're going to get that cleaned right out of there. If you don't do this part, it won't spin properly. So I'm going to do that. And now we're going to cut the tips off of this because we don't need the tips. I'm going to cut them right off. And when we go to spin the hair, we're going to mount it at an angle on the hook shank. We're not going to put it on straight. We're going to put it on an angle. So you're going to get one turn, two turns of your thread, and you want to pull right straight down. The thread's going to start to flare, and then you're going to let go, and it's going to spin right around that hook shank. Get a few wraps through it. Stack it all up together with your thumbnail. Make sure it's nice and snug, and get a couple of turns of thread in front of it. Now you're going to repeat this process all the way until you get to about 1/4 of an inch from the end of the hook. Once you've covered the hook shank with all of your clumps of deer hair, you're going to look something like this, and you're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch of the hook shank still bare. We're going to tie off our thread with a whip finish. I'm going to get the whip finisher out here, do a quick whip finish. I'm going to cut the thread out. And now we're going to take our piece of finished deer hair out of the vise, and we're going to begin the trimming process. And you've noticed that I've turned it upside down, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish the bottom of the fly. This works for all types of flies. Anytime you're trimming deer hair, you want to establish a starting point, and that's usually by finding where the bottom of the fly is. What we're looking for here is an elongated egg shape. Once you've got the shape of your reindeer head, you want to put the hook back into the vise, and then you're going to mount your thread again. And we're going to clip off the waist here. And we're going to tie in 2 clumps of fluorescent red egg yarn. So I'm going to cut one off here. Like that. Set it down. Get another clump. Cut. And now we're going to tie one on the top. That turned around. Turn the vise over. Get another one tied on the bottom side there. Turn that over. Fluff it out a little bit. And we're going to whip finish that. Clip the thread off. We're going to take it out of the vise and we're going to trim it again. Okay, once we've got the nose to the correct shape, we want to start making our reindeer parts. This becomes kind of a Martha Stewart project at this point. What you're going to need is you're going to need some fly foam, try to say that fast, fly foam, and we're going to be cutting out a couple of pair of antlers, and you can see where I've made a rough drawing out of them, then I've cut them out. I've left a little point down here at the bottom that's going to be used to stick it into the deer hair. The other thing that you're going to cut out are the ears, and you can see I've been using a piece of chamois here to make these, and you just want kind of a little tennis racket shape, if you will. And what I normally do is I try to make them kind of cute and get a little cup on them. So I take some zapper gel and put a little right in there and kind of give them a little tweak, and that gets that nice little cup shape right there. You don't want to glue yourself to your reindeer ears, by the way. The other part that you're going to need is a pair of eyes for your reindeer, and I make these out of a pair of sewing pins, and I dip them into some lacquer in order to get that little extra eyeball in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to fast forward and glue all our parts in, and then we'll have our finished reindeer. Now that you've finished your reindeer fly, there's a couple of things you might want to do. One thing I usually do is I glue a gold bead over the point, because you know that children are probably going to be attracted to this fly and you don't want a little kid getting impaled on the hook. And then another thing you can do is you can tie a little gold thread on this, and then you can hang it on your Christmas tree. And if you really want to get cutesy, you can take 2 of these reindeer and you can make them into a pair of reindeers. That'd be a great present for your girlfriend or for your wife. I'm sure they'll be delighted. Hey, Merry Christmas from the North Country Angler.